My first guest is Kevin Hassett of the American Enterprise Institute. Welcome, Kevin.
Thanks, Jason. It's great to be here.
So it appears that the Republicans and the Democrats have reached a deal on extending the payroll tax cut and unemployment benefits. What can you tell us? I mean, what does the deal look like? I know we're going to get unemployment benefits for how long?
Yeah, so they're starting to ramp down the length, the duration of unemployment benefits, and they're ramping it down more if you're in a state that has relatively low unemployment. Okay. And so if you're a state, there are 7 of them right now that has unemployment under 6%. That would be North Dakota, Nebraska, South Dakota, New Hampshire, Vermont, Iowa, and Wyoming. Then they're going down to 40 weeks in September. If, on the other hand, you're a state that's still having a lot of trouble, there are 17 states that still have unemployment above 9%, including places like New Jersey and Kentucky and North Carolina, Florida, Nevada. Then they're going down to 73 weeks. And so we're starting finally to move away from this model where people get 99 weeks of unemployment insurance, which I think most economists believe has set up a kind of structural problem. They've taken a cyclical problem and turned it into a structural problem because it's encouraged people to stay home on unemployment insurance for that long period. There's a lot of evidence that people often more aggressively look for a job after their unemployment insurance is gone. And then once you're out of the unemployment or you're on unemployment insurance for 99 weeks, the evidence is it's very hard to get back into the labor force to get a job again. And so moving back to shorter unemployment insurance is a very good policy.
Well, but the proponents of this argue, and the Obama administration has argued, that with unemployment as high as it is, this isn't about putting out there a disincentive for people to look for work. This is about helping people get through a very difficult period. We've got unemployment above 8% in this country. How can you take away benefits? They're sort of a lifeline for these people, the White House would argue.
Right. Well, the problem is that the benefit, in order to qualify for benefits, you need to not have a job. If we're worried about providing support for folks, and we want to do it in a way that doesn't encourage them to stay out of work for 99 weeks, then what we could do is just make a more generous lump sum grant to them. But there's another part of the bill that I think is a really nice part of the bill, a big policy improvement, and it's a big expansion of the Georgia Works program. And the basic idea is that it allows employers to get some of the unemployment insurance as money that they can use to pay people wages, and so instead of sitting at home collecting your unemployment benefits, a state can take the UI benefits and have employers pay employers to hire people, so maybe you could cover half their wage or something with the UI benefits, and that program has been really successul at reconnecting people to the labor market, and so I think there are 2 big pluses today. One is that they're cutting down the 99-week length to something more reasonable, and the second is that they're doubling down on the program that we know works, the Georgia Works program. Okay,
and I guess I'd also point out that in addition to the disincentive to work that you put in place as you extend unemployment benefits, it's also expensive, isn't it, Kevin? And not only for the federal government, but for the state governments as well. I mean, this has to be paid for, and there's an incentive there, I believe, to raise, like business taxes or payroll taxes for businesses at the state level to pay for these things.
Yeah, that's right. And this particular measure still, it's still a bigger duration, a longer duration than is the normal law. It costs something like $30 billion, even this, which is a smaller cost than if we were still extending the 99 weeks. The difference is, though, that the kind of budget hawk Republicans have required that it be paid for with other things. And so there's a spectrum auction that's going to raise some money, and new civilian federal employees and members of Congress are going to have to contribute more towards their defined benefit pension programs than they have in the past. And so there is some sort of solid, budget hawk stuff that's going to cover the cost of this.
Let's talk a little bit about the payroll tax deal. Conservatives are not happy about these temporary tax cuts. They say they don't really have the pro-growth incentives that permanent tax cuts have. But were the Republicans sort of in a bind here? They sort of lost a PR debate on this a few months ago, and I guess they didn't want history to repeat itself, correct?
Right. Well, I think that what's happened is that we found ourselves in a new political equilibrium where the Democrats are kind of willing to cut taxes for 1 year because they're Keynesians. And the Republicans are willing, they want to cut taxes forever. And so now we're in this world where the economy's probably never going to be so good, so that some Democrat's going to want to take the political risks to stand up and say, hey, you know what? There are enough Americans out there with jobs and their wages are good enough so we can let the stimulus go away. And so it seems like every year the Democrats are going to stand up and vote to cut the payroll tax. And Republicans would probably like to cut it forever. And they're willing to play the game of doing it a year at a time because they're more or less getting forever out of the Democrats because they know that they're always going to vote yes when it comes to a vote. It's a really bad equilibrium. It's really bad for our fiscal future because, we are short trillions and trillions of dollars. But I think that that's kind of where we are, and that's what we've seen here. And I can promise you we'll see it again. They're just never going to be able to let this Keynesian thing expire because the economy's never going to be good enough in their minds that they're willing to take the sort of politically risky move of letting the thing expire.
Okay, we'll leave it there, Mr. Hassett. Thank you for joining us.
Thanks. It's been great to be here.